Hello, my students, and welcome. Is it okay if I start the recording?
It has started, sir.
Okay, so Robot Lady, do your recording stuff.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. Right, so let's go on. So let's welcome everybody. We had a chat before we started the recording, so Abdul was chatting and Miriam. Now let's talk where we left. Abdul, just give us a quick recap from last week. Abdul, what did we do last week?
Okay, last week we were covering one of the assignment questions in terms of creating a function called twice, which returns the sum of two integers doubled or doubled.
All right, where did you see the word sum over there, Abdul, if I may ask?
Based on the code that we wrote, sir.
Oh, based on the code. Okay, so this is your narrative. All right, so that was an open
Yes,
mic session where you said it, right? Okay, and where did we end off last week, Abdul? I remember you talking about something about that ampersand or reference or something like that.
Yes, I was asking that you clearly explain what effect does that %& have when it comes to parameters.
Oh, okay, so that's the ampersand that we're talking about, right? So in line number 3, right? So that's the ampersand sign. So we'll talk about that now, right? So so thank you, Abdul, for that quick recap. Marianne, did we leave out anything, Marianne? Is there anything else that we're supposed to do for today?
No,
Marianne?
I don't.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm trying to think back to last week's lesson here.
Okay. It was a little long time ago. Abdul, was there anything that Marianne had to ensure that she does for this week? I mean to jog her memory.
I would like to say we should save the best for last. So
okay, great.
That surprise will be handled at the end of the lesson. We can go ahead with the lesson, and then before the end of class, you can answer that surprise.
Great. So as a teacher, I'll give you some pedagogy in terms of methodology and how you teach students. So whenever you're teaching students, you always have to recap what they know beforehand. So that's called the relevant previous knowledge. You just don't start teaching from anywhere, right? So in this case, I'm recapping what we did last week, and I'm engaging you, Abdul, in your narrative. I made it, calling it an open mic session. So when you said that we need to go and enter two numbers, we did the program, and we left off with the reference parameters. So my objectives for today's lesson is we'll review last week's program, and we'll play around with this reference parameters, what effect it has on the program. All right. Now, this is not the solution to the exam, to the question, because the question stated, write a function named twice, and just to let you know, we are doing this function 2 times. How's that for a play on the word twice? Marianne? Abdul?
Sorry, just a sec, sir. There seems to be some problem here on the chat about the sound or something. I don't know. Let me just see.
It's just me, or the audio is slightly lower than usual today. Okay, I'm in my dining room. I'm not sure if that has an effect on it. Can you hear? Can the rest of you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. So I think it may be just 1 or 2 students, but don't worry. We are recording it so you can listen to this. Oh, the lag. Yeah. Whenever there's load shedding, and we come out of load shedding, I noticed the networks take some time to kind of improve the speed. Okay, but be that as it may, let's go on. So today's objective, like a teacher, I'm talking to you. You need to know what is the thing about a value parameter, a reference parameter, and we look at this question 4c. So Abdul, you agree with me that there's no such thing about adding the 2 numbers, right, Abdul?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that was just your open mic session where we spoke about it, right? So it says write a function that multiplies each parameter and returns it to the calling program. So now it tells you that it is returning it to the calling program, Abdul. Now that's a very specific value that they want in the calling program. The calling program is the main program. And that gives you an idea, an inclination that the parameter has to be referenced, All right. So just to put in the cognitive structures out there, we are going to be talking about a reference parameter, and that's where that ampersand comes along. All right. So let's just run last week's program. Abdul, let's see if everything is still working. Let's compile. And yes, it's working. So let's run the program, and we're going to run it on your narrative and your open mic session, Abdul, right? So it says, please enter the first integer. Abdul, you remember those integers we were playing around with, Abdul?
I think we used 5 and 10.
Okay, let's use 5 and 10 again, right? So please enter the first integer is 5. Please enter the second integer is 10. And we worked out that it is 5 times 2, which is 10. 10 times 2, which is 20, and we added the 2 and we got 30. So that was it, right? Now this is not the solution, because in the case of the assignment question, Abdul, they asked us to accept 2 integers, which we've done, and multiplies each parameter with 2, which is returned to the calling function, right? So that was one of the questions and queries that one of the students had asked last week. Right, so Abdul, now I want to do this now, right? I'm going to return. Let's return for now just one function, right? We're going to return, we're not going to add it, we're just going to return 1 times 2, all right? Okay. And let's take out this ampersand, right? So I'm not going to work with 2. It's always nice to start with just working with just 1, right, at a time. So you're taking last week's program, and we're not going to worry about 2 values, we're just going to work with 1, right? So I'm taking last week's program, I'm taking, we know how to work with this, right? And we said, listen, I'm not going to send 2 parameters, I'm taking 1 parameter across. Now, Abdul, I want to quickly revise some of the rules associated with parameters. If you notice, Abdul, if I'm passing across 1 parameter in line 13, then I must have 1 parameter in line number 3. Did you notice that, Abdul?
Yes, sir.
Right, so there's a 1-to-1 correspondence. Then there's another rule that goes, you know, it kind of says, if number 1, which was declared in line number 8, is an integer value, then the parameter that I'm passing across in line number 3 should also be an integer value, right? It makes sense, Abdul, kind of, you know, you want to be able to pass across a value from one parameter to another parameter, and they are both the same kind of type, you know, that's what they mean by that, right? And there's another rule that comes along, but we're going to work with it one at a time. So in this question here. Yes, Marianne, go ahead.
Okay, so the reference parameters, okay, so they talk about in the study guide, I believe, that if you're using reference parameters, it is bad form to use a return statement. Now, to me, bad form doesn't say illegal, you can't do it. So is it actually possible to use a return statement in a function that uses reference parameters?
Well, they just use the word bad, you know, good, bad. I hear you what you're talking about, Marianne, in terms of a programming style. Some people will say, listen here, the programming style that they are adopting, they need to ensure that variables are capital letters and small letters thereafter, all small letters, all capitals. Being good and being bad, in my opinion, is not as important as the program working and giving you a result as it is not working. Do I make kind of sense, Marianne?
Yeah, you make sense, but you see, that's my question. They say that, yeah, you really use a return statement in your reference parameter, but could you do it?
That's a good one now.
If it worked.
Okay, if it worked, we could use it. If it doesn't work, then we're going to think about that, right? So I'm glad you kept that in mind. So Marianne, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to run this program, and if it generates the answer that I wanted to, then I know my program is working. If it doesn't generate an answer, then I know it's not working. All right, Marianne, cool with that? Right. So let's see. So right now I'm going to take out all the extra variables, all the I don't need that, because my question from the assignment is, which is our narrative. It says write a function named twice. Right now I'm just using 1 parameter that accepts 2 integers. I'm just accepting 1 as formal parameters. The formal parameters is the value that I'm going to pass across. It's 5, and multiplies each parameter. So I'm going to just take 1. And I'm going to use this to explain to you the concepts of value parameter, reference parameter, formal parameters, actual parameters, and we're going to talk about what you just mentioned right now, Marianne. Let's talk about return. All right. So let's just compile this program. Let's see if I made any too many changes to that. And it seems to be compiling. I'll move the zoom bar and let's run this program, right? So it says, please enter the first integer. Well, there's only one integer, right? So we're going to enter in 5. Now, Abdul, what do you expect the answer to be, Abdul?
I expect the answer to be 10.
Okay, all right. So let's press enter, right? Enter.
And if it's not 10?
Oh, oops, good one. Let's go there, right? So Abdul, Marianne has just posed a question. If it's not 10, Abdul.
I didn't hear you properly, sir. You were breaking. Can you kindly repeat yourself?
It wasn't me. It was Marianne that says, if I'm going to run this program, and you said the value that you're entering is 5, right, Abdul?
It should be 10 again, sir.
It's going to be 10. Now, Marianne wants to know if it's not 10, what's going to be the situation?
I don't know. She can create a situation, but it's definitely going to be 10.
It's definitely going to be 10. Okay, let's see. Marianne, let's see if it gives me the answer of 10. So it says the value returned by the function is indeed 10. And we notice, Marianne, that in this example, I'm not using a reference parameter. Abdul, have you noticed that, Abdul? I'm not using a reference parameter, all right? Now I'm going to tweak this a little bit so that I generate and to explain to you what this reference parameter does, right? So there we go. So I'm going to take what Marianne said. I'm going to call a variable called temp, right? Temp stands for temporary. And temp is going to take on the value of 1 multiplied by 2, right? And I'm going to say in my choice, I'm going to state out there, I'm going to print out the value of temp is temp, right? So now I'm no longer going to have this return 1 times 0. I'm going to let's compile this quickly. If it's okay, right? Return. Let's go and return temp if I wanted to, right? I want to return temp, right? And I'm going to print this out here. The value of temp inside twice TWICE is, right? So let's see what am I talking out here, right? So let's say, oh, it compiles, I'm quite happy with that. Let's go and run the program, right? So it says, please enter the first integer. So that comes out in line number 12. So this is like, you can think of us tracing a program, Abdul, Marianne, or I'm running the program to see what it does, right? Think of the variable diagram story as well. So it went to line number 12, and it's now in line number 13, and I'm going to enter in 5. Abdul, what do you think the answer is going to be, Abdul?
10, once again.
All right. Abdul says 10 because you've now transferred control. You've gone to line number 15. It says number 1 is 5. I'm going to line number 3, 5. So 1 takes on the value of 5. Inside there, I said temp. Well, it's a good. I should have assigned it to 0, but it's okay. It says 5 times 2 is 10. The value inside twice is 10. Let's go and return temp, right? So the value of temp inside twice is 10. The value returned by the function is 10. So Abdul, here we go. The
Yes,
value
sir.
returned by the function is indeed 10, right? This is the story with the return value, right? Now I'm going to go and place. I want to find out what is the value of 1, right? I want to find out what is the value of 1. See out the value of 1 inside twice is. By the way, this method that I'm talking about today is I'm trying to determine what happens with the variables using my code blocks. And I use this to kind of do my variable diagram or to find out exactly what happens with the variables as they move from the main program to the function, from the function and back out again. Abdul, cool with that? Miriam, this is another teaching strategy, right? So if you want to find out what a program is doing, you simply go and put in some cout statements inside the function, the main program, and it basically tells you what's going on in there, right? So now I want to find out what is 1 over here, right? The value of 1 inside temp. All right, let's do, right, let's do a cout inline, right? Right, so there we go. So let's go and compile my program again. This time I want to see what is the value of 1, right? So let's go and compile it. Hey, everything seems to be okay. 0 errors. Let's run the program. Please enter the first digit, enter the value again. Yeah, I'm using 5 again, right, Abdul?
No problem, sir.
Right, so let's see what's the value. So 5, we go back to our main program. In our main program, it tells me that I'm now at line number 14. Please enter the first value. C in number 1 is 5. Right, oopsie, am I there? Right, the value of 1 inside twice is 5. So what happened? There's the value of 1. Inside the value, inside twice the function, it is still 1, meaning there's a 1-to-1 correspondence between the parameters. So the formal parameter and the actual parameter, there's a 1-to-1 correspondence. Remember I told you some of the rules, Abdul? I said they must be the same type, integers, both are integers. I must have the same number. And when I talk about having more than one parameter, you're going to see that the way I place the parameters also has an effect, the order, right? So it says the value of 1 inside 5 is twice. The value of temp inside twice is 10. So temp told me that I am multiplying it out by 2 because that took place in line number 5. That is indeed true. The value returned by the function is indeed 10. So that's what happened with the return temp. 10 was returned to twice, and that was passed across to answer, which was given to me as a value of 19. So far, so good. Abdul, Marianne, who else is on the call? Yeah. Destiny, Marcella, Olga, talk to me, anybody. So far, so good.
Yes, sir.
All right, Abdul, give me a quick summary. Sir. Great. Who wants to give me a quick summary of what I'm trying to achieve or the objective in today's lesson based on the assignment question?
I would say, sir, understanding parameters and how they work, and looking at the fact that if you are to transfer control to a function, there needs to be a 1:1 relationship or ratio, and that whatever parameter you're passing in should be of the same type. So if your function takes in an integer type, even when you call that function in the main function, whatever parameter you're going to put across should also be an integer.
Okay, great. Thank you, Abdul, for that quick recap. Now, Marianne, I'm going to ask you a question. Now, Marianne, you noticed I used this variable called temp in line number 4. Marianne, what do you think the value of temp would be if I had to display it, say, after line number 19? So I want to say the value of temp is, the value of temp in the main program is, Marianne?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just enlarging the thing again so I can see.
Okay, go ahead, enlarging it, go ahead.
Yeah, so int main.
Yeah, so remember now, Marianne, I declared temp to be inside the function called twice.
Right. Wait.
Right, and I asked it in line number 8, the value of temp inside twice was indeed 10, right?
Yeah, okay, sorry, I just had to get rid of the pop-up notifications here.
Sure.
Now
No hassle.
no, okay, there we go. Yeah,
Right?
okay.
So in
we
line
were
number
looking at
20, I'm asking you this, right? In line number 20, what is the value of temp in the main program?
Yeah. So in line number 20 in the main, it won't have a value. It'll be like, because it's not declared in the main program.
Oh, is that so? Abdul, what do you think, Abdul? Marian said there's no value.
I will agree with Marian in this sense,
Of course
because
you
I
will.
also
I
believe
just
that,
do it. Abdul is going to agree with Marian. Oh.
Well, what I know, sir, I'm not sure, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, is that a variable that is created within a function, once it is used, that variable gets deleted or something like that. So it won't be stored in memory. It only works within a function. So that variable is local to the function and it's not globally declared in terms of the scope.
Oh, okay. So
if you try and compile it now, so I think you'll actually get an error saying the temp is not declared.
I don't know. Let's try it out now. And if you are right, Marian, then Abdul, what's going to be the bet, Abdul?
On this one, we're not betting, because last week we did, and I'd say we won the bet in terms of seeing her this week. So there's no bets
okay.
Hang on, I'll make you a deal. Right. If I'm wrong, you don't have to put your camera on. But if I'm right, you're also putting your camera on at the end of the session. How's that?
Okay,
fair enough.
Right. So Marian, let's get this straight now. You are telling me that the value of temp in line number 20 doesn't exist. Is that what you're saying? You're telling me it's going to get an error? Marian?
Yeah, because it's outside the twice function. Yes,
it's outside
the twice function.
And Abdul is agreeing with you, right? So Abdul says, yeah, that, and you use some big words over there. You use some local and global and goodness gracious. So let's just compile this program. It says, error, temp was not declared in the scope. So as Marian correctly pointed out, temp has been declared, and Abdul as well, inside of the function twice. In line number 4 is where I start up my function twice. In line number 10 is where I end my function twice. And inside here, this is localized. So that's another objective in this lesson for today. Inside a function, I declare variables and they are localized. They are only available inside the function that I use. It's not available outside of the function. All right? So Abdul, Marian is correct.
Abdul. Congratulations, Marian.
Right. So if she is right now, Abdul, you got to put your camera on at the end of the session, Abdul. But you don't have a problem with that.
I agreed with her, must say.
You agree with that?
No problem, but I agree with her.
Okay, great.
So we both won the contest, if I may say.
Great. You of course you did, right? So you could say it. Now I'm going to ask you another question, Marian and Abdul. So can you see this variable number num1? We know in line number 15, it's declared to be 5, right? We assign the value 5 to it. If I go and request it inside here, see out the value of num1 inside of twice is, let's take a bet here, right? What's going to happen to this value? Will I be able to display it here? Think about that.
I think you might be, sir, in a sense that, remember, you declared this variable in the main function.
Right.
And then when it gets to that certain line, I'm not sure what line it is, you're
line number 9.
Control within it. Yes, where you transfer control to the function.
Okay, that's in line number 18.
Like, yes. So remember, having passed that 5 with num1 into that function, it now becomes part and parcel with the parameter. And I think it will be available because it's also declared in a global scope, if we can say. It's not local to the function, but however, it's globally declared. So I think it will be accessible within the function.
Marian, your thoughts on this, Marian, before we compile the program?
Yeah, sorry, so I'm just trying to find num1 because on line 5, we seem to have temp.
Oh, on line number 5, we got, no, on line number 5, we do have temp, but I just included a line number 9, line 9, where I want to find out whether num1 can be accessed inside the function twice. That's the objective. So we've established one thing, right? That a local variable, a variable that's declared inside a function, cannot be accessed outside of it, right? Now, Abdul is telling me that num1 has been declared in the main function, right? The main program, the main man, which is line number 13. I'd like to know from you, Marianne, in line number 9, would I be able to print the value of num1, which is 5? We know it's 5.
Okay, no, because you're only taking the integer variable 1 into that particular function. So num1 is not declared within that function.
Oh, okay, right. So Abdul, we've got 2 scenarios here. Abdul says, yes, we can access it, and it's going to give me 5. Marianne says no. All right. Anybody would like to split the vote over here or to add to the voting procedure? I'm only talking to Marianne and Abdul right now. Anybody wants to unmute? And...
So, I think it wouldn't. Sir.
Yes.
I think the function will not be able to read it because the function num1 was not initialized or was not declared in the twice function. So the main function won't be able to read it. Considering that the program reads, the program compiles line to line from top to bottom, so it won't be able to read that.
Okay. So you say you're agreeing with Marianne, right? Abdul is on his own here, right?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Your Zoom name is Destiny. Is that the name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, right. So one way to check it out is to compile it, and that's what I love about programming, right? And I'm teaching you guys here. I have my assistant, the compiler, to assist me to kind of find out whether that is true or not. So let's go and compile it. There we go. If you look at the error message at the bottom, it says error, num1 was not declared in the scope. Now that's an important concept to note, Abdul.
Okay.
So you
I'm
said,
listening.
right. So you said, Abdul, that we could access it, right? Abdul?
Yes, I said that. Yes, I said that in relation to looking at the fact that num1 will be converted to 1 in terms of parameters. So I'm not sure if we were supposed to write 1 instead of num1.
Oh, okay. I hear you. But Abdul, do you see? We're learning here, Abdul. We're learning, and can you see? I cannot access num1, the variable num1 in the main program. This has to do with the concept of modular programming. We write programs in modules, and we have the scope of the variable. It's only available according to the way we declare it. Right, Abdul? So Destiny was right.
I hear you, sir.
Right, you hear
Yes,
me?
sir.
Great. Destiny was right, and Marianne was right? In that case. So thank you, Destiny, for that. Now, I'm going to, so kind of, let's take that out, right? So I can't access it outside of it. And this is also quite nice. We don't want to be able to access things, willy-nilly, because in terms of the way we structure our programs and our modules and, working in compartments as such, we don't want to be able to access it inside, outside, left, right, center, right? So Destiny, now that you've joined us and you've spoken to us, I want to know something about a value called a constant. Anyone wants to talk to me about a constant value? So I want to see if a constant is available inside a function, and if it's well, we know it's going to be available in the main program. Anyone wants to add to the discussion in terms of constants?
Okay, so a constant is a variable that you cannot change during your program.
All right, okay. Now my question to you, Marianne, is it available in the main function only, or is it available in the main function and the function twice? What do you think?
That depends on where you declare it. If it's global, it should be available in both, I believe. But if you're declaring it in the main body of the main function, then it should only be available in main.
Let's try it out. So where should I declare it, Marianne? Which line number?
Well, okay, so we're looking to make it universally accessible. So using namespaces on line 2, if you could give us a gap between line 2 and line 3. Yeah.
Great.
So where your constant should go.
Right. right? And generally we have a constant variable like, you know, VAT, tax, repo rate, or something like that, right? But for now, let's go with it, right? VAT. What is VAT now? 15% or interest rate? Or let's just say rate, right? So you're going to say rate is going to be 10.
Taxes.
Okay, if you, I like that, all right? That's good programming, right? The rate is, right, so rate is 10. Let's go and compile this and see if it's okay. Marianne, error rate does not have a type. What am I supposed to put on there, Marianne?
Int should do it. So int const rate.
Int const rate, okay.
No, const int.
Oh, okay, if we're not sure, let's do the compiling. There we go. Int const rate gives me no errors. Who said const int rate? Was it Abdul? Right, both seem to work, Abdul.
Hence I said so you can use them vice versa.
Sorry. Okay, great. Right, so let's go and let's now display the value of rate inside the main program. I want to find out whether Cout the value of rate is ATE, right? Okay, and let's oopsie. All right, I just want to give it so let's go and compile this. So now it says this, no, it's fine. So we know it's going to work, right? It's going to work. It says the value of rate is 10. Enter the first integer. Let's go with 6 this time. So we know the double the value of that is 12. It's fine. Now my question to you is, will it be available inside the function twice? So I'm going to copy this as well. And I'm going to copy it. Control C, Control V, the value of rate inside the function twice is, oops, right? Let's talk. Marianne, Abdul, Destiny, do you think line number 6 will give me the value of 10?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hey, good, resounding yes. Let's run this program. Let's run the program, compiling it, and run the program. The value of rate is 10. Did it say, please enter the first integer 5? No, man, it's not. The value of the rate inside the function twice is 10. The value of 1 inside twice is 5. All right, so it's so that's fine. We established what constant does. All right, so quick recap, Abdul. Where are the scope of variables? Where does it talk to me about? You said local, global, constant, and yeah, talk to me, Abdul. Quick recap, Abdul.
What I can say is that the global scope is where a variable would be accessed anyway.
And give me an example of that now. Give me an example of that.
Pardon?
Give me an example of what we said would be available anywhere.
Like the rate that we created, that constant rate.
Yeah.
That's global to our code. Yeah. So it can be accessed by any. And then if a variable is to be made local, so it would only be available to that function or within that function that it has been created in, and you could not be able to access it outside that function.
Okay, cool with that, right? So we spoke about local variables, global variables, constant variables. We spoke about actual parameters and formal parameters, right? Okay, so now one more thing I'm going to do is, right, I'm going to now go and work on what the question actually said. Let's take out all this, the rate stories, and I'm going to give you another rule, if I could call it, regarding parameters and parameter passing, right? So now we don't need that. I'm going to take that out. So the question in the assignment was, the question says, write a function named twice that accepts 2 integers. Now we're going to do 2 integers as formal parameters, and then multiplies each parameter with 2, which is returned to the calling function, right? So now, Abdul, I'm going to answer num1 And I want num2 as well, right? So I want num2. And let me go and ask for that now. I'm going to ask for that. Control C, Control V. Please enter the second integer, right? Second integer and num2. And now I'm going to pass across 2. The value returned by the number 1 multiplied by 2 is, and this is going to be number 1 C out, right? So I'm going to talk another one to you, right? I'm going to talk Control C, MELT, Control V, multiplied. Where's my moderator? I'm spelling it here, Marianne. Right. So I'm gonna number 2, right? So, right, let's talk now, right? Let's talk. Right. So now I'm not going to request this. I'm going to say
can you also create a space or have the space between the first CL statements, number 1 multiplied by?
Okay. You want another one? Let's put a inline there, right?
And can you separate multiplied with the word by?
Oh, okay, sure. Great. So, right. So the point of this exercise in this program is I'm now having to add another parameter. So I'm passing across 2 of them. I'm passing across num1 and num2, and I'm passing it across in the in answer, right? So let's see if I have to make any changes here. It's because I have 2 parameters there, number 1 and number 2. I need to have the same out here. And how did we do it last week, Abdul?
You can have int2.
Int2, right? And how do we separate the 2?
Pardon?
Is that okay?
You need to have a comma between int1 and int2.
Right, so there's a comma there, right? Okay, so now we got the value of twice temp. So I'm returning a temp, which is 1. Let's call this temp 1. And I'm saying temp 2, right, is equal to 2 times 2, right? So now I'm going to say the value of temp 1 is temp 1, and the value of temp 2 is temp 2, right? You cool with that, Abdul?
Yes, sir. And then what are you returning?
Right, let's just declare this 2 now, right? Temp 2. All right. Good programming, I should have set that to be 0, right? Right. So, oh yeah. What am I returning, Abdul?
You can create maybe a last variable which will now have the sum of, or you can even do it mathematically there, maybe temp 1 plus temp 2.
Why would I want to do that? Oh, you want to do it there? Okay. You want to return temp, like what you're talking about last week.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you want to do it like that? Okay. But can I do it like that, Abdul?
You can do it like that, or you can create the third variable which will now have temp 1 and temp 2, and you just return whatever variable that will have.
Okay.
That.
Oh, okay, great. Right. Let's run the program now. Right. Let's run the program. It's compiling. It seems to be okay. Let's run it. Please enter the first integer. We're going to enter in an integer of 6. Please enter the second integer, which is 7. So it should give me 6 times 2 is 12, and it should give me 7 times 2 is 14. Right, Abdul?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the value of temp 1, this is inside the function, is 12. That's correct. The value of temp 2 is 14. That's correct, right? The number 1 multiplied by 2 is 6. The number 2 multiplied by 2 is 7. So it seems to be working. Right, Abdul?
Yes, sir.
Right. So I'm happy with that. Now, Abdul, so what's the point of this thing having a reference parameter ampersand? And oh, by the way, it didn't return temp1 plus temp2. Answer. We didn't ask for answer.
Yes.
Right. 2 in the main program is. So what was the whole purpose of the multiplied by 2 in the main program is num2, and also we wanted to value what is answer, right? Let's go with.
So you can see out the value of answer.
Yes, see out. In honor of Abdul. Right? Because that's what we're talking about. Let's compile that. The number multiplied. Oops, end line is wrong. What do I typing error there? Right. Let's compile. So we said the first integer is 6. The second integer we said was 7. 6 times 2 is supposed to be 12. 7 times 2 is supposed to be 14, right? Add 12 to 14, you're going to get 26. The Abdul's answer is 26, right? That's your answer. The number 2 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 7. Is that true, Abdul? The number 2 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 7. The value of temp2 is 14. The number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 6. That's not right, Abdul.
Can you go back to the code, sir? Let's see where the problem could be.
Okay. Marianne, you following the Marianne? Something is not right.
Yeah. I'll say, but as Abdul says, we actually need the code to evaluate what exactly went wrong.
Okay, cool. Destiny, are you with me, Destiny? Destiny. Hi, Destiny. Destiny, there seems to be an error in our program here, Destiny. Destiny, I'm going to
see the code.
Sure, Destiny. There we go. Right, let's see the code. Let's see the code. Right. So let's see what has happened over here. There's my function twice. By the way, we're doing it more than twice now. We're doing it a couple times, right? Oh gosh. Right, we're doing it more than once, right? So the problem here is it's not giving me the value in the main function, Destiny.
So, sir?
Abdul, yes.
What you can basically do is that multiply num1 and num2 by 2 on those cout statements.
Over here in line number 22.
Yes, sir.
But why would I want to do that? I've got a function for that.
Well, pardon?
I got a function up there. That's what the purpose of the function is.
But now, if you're going to use num1 and num2 as they are, then we are just taking 7 and 6. So
yes,
that's why there isn't any change according to my analysis of the code. Num1 is 6. So if you are to say the number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 6, 6 multiplied by 2 should be 12. Hence, I'm saying you can, based on that cout statement, multiply num1 by 2
over
and
here.
num2 by 2.
You want to do it over there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Then what's the need to have a function, Abdul? Why should I have twice there? If I'm going to do it in line number 22.
Well, I'm trying to balance it with your statement.
You're trying to balance it.
Otherwise,
okay.
If you want to.
Okay, I hear you. Let's park that on the back burner. Destiny, any thoughts from you, Destiny? Destiny.
So you didn't perform any. You didn't perform any operation on the number on num1
and num2. No, I actually have. There we go. I performed it over here. I performed some operation. I multiplied by 2. I even added it because Abdul wants to add it. I don't know. You know, from last week he's thinking about that.
Excuse me, sir.
Well.
Yes. Who's there? Who's there talking?
Hi, sir. Can you just not call the temp1 and temp2 so that it gives you 12? When you said when you cancel out, you said num1 multiplied by 2 equals temp1, which equals 12. Can you do that?
Oh, okay. Let's try it out now, right? So, is that how do you pronounce your name, please?
It's Fizzolina.
Fizzolina. Okay. So, is this what you're talking about, Fizzolina? Is this what you're talking about?
Yes. Can you do that?
Okay. All right. Let me see if anybody would like to jump in and answer that question on behalf of me with regard to what Fizzolina has just spoken about. So Fizzolina says, why don't we in line number 22 just display that there?
It's not gonna work because those variables were declared in the function. They were local to the function, so they don't exist in the main function, but however, they exist in the function twice.
Yeah, Fizzolina, are you with me, Fizzolina? That's what we were talking about earlier on, Fizzolina, where we said that temp1 and temp2 are only available inside of the function twice. Fizzolina, keep your mic on.
Oh, yeah, it's because they're local. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
no, don't apologize. You can't get to learn. That's what the whole thing is there, Fizzolina. It's available inside there. So we need a way so that we can transfer whatever happens inside here to here. Right? Right, Fizzolina? Right. Any ideas, Fizzolina?
Yes.
I want to keep num1, num2, right? Right? Fizzolina, you can try that out where you put temp over there and you're going to see it's not going to work. That's what happened about 20 minutes ago. I think it was Marianne that pointed that out to us. Marianne, right, Marianne?
Yeah, sorry, I'm actually looking at the twice function here, sir, because I'm actually not seeing where this is going.
Where it's going? Oh,
yeah,
okay, that's
I'm not
cool.
seeing where it's going wrong. You see, because if I'm looking at it, we have, okay, yeah, now you've scrolled it off the screen again.
Oops, sorry.
But we have our two things that input.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have 1 and 2, so we enter those things. Okay, good and well. Here we have temp1. Temp1 equals 1 times 2. Okay. Temp2 equals 2 times 2. Okay, so that's good.
That's good. Yeah.
So if we put in 5 and 10 like we were supposed to, at this point, temp1 equals 10, temp2 equals 20. Good and well.
Right.
That is what our C out statement should indicate to us. Return temp1 plus temp2. Right. So that's 10 plus 20. So we should still be getting our 30 answer here.
Yes.
So I'm not quite figuring where this goes wrong. It's quite.
Yeah, it is. Okay, that's cool. So
sir,
yes, Abdul.
Could it be possible that we can use those 8% for referencing, or to use them so that we could possibly be able to get whatever that was declared in the function twice and be able to display it in the main function?
Oh, okay. Let's try
that. Can I ask?
Yes, ask.
When you said answer equals twice, instead of calling, you call the function twice, right?
Yeah.
Instead of calling num1 and num2, can't you call temp1 and temp2?
Oh, of course.
Okay, wait.
Of course, because it says 1 and.
You want to call temp1 and temp2? No, Fizzolina, we've established that we can't use temp1 and temp2 in the main function, right? In the program, because temp1 and temp2 are not available to me. They are only available inside the function called twice, right? So forget about that idea, right? Throw that idea away, right? Okay, so in the interest of time, I see it's already 3 o'clock. And I've got to sort out the gardener, and I've got to sort out the carpenters and all of that. And my wife has been messaging me, no lie, on the WhatsApp thingy, right? So in those interests, and what Abdul has mentioned now, right? Abdul mentioned something about this reference parameters, this ampersand. I just want to run this program, and then I'm going to run it with what Abdul has given me an idea, right? He's given me an idea. So I'm going to run this program, and it says enter the first one, which is 6, enter the second one, which is 7. 6 times 2 is 12, 7 times 2 is 14, 14 plus 12 is 26, right? So Abdul's answer is 26. So Abdul's answer is indeed 26. The number multiplied by 2 is 7. That's wrong. Fizzolina, have you noticed? Destiny, have you noticed that's wrong? Right? The number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 6. No, 6 times 2 is not 6, right? Now, I'm going to talk about this thing, what Abdul was mentioning just now, and what we started off in the beginning, which is the ampersand. If I make this a reference parameter, If I put an ampersand sign in front of it, it's going to compile. It's going to compile. Now watch this. Let me build and let me run this program. Again, 6, and I'm going to say 7. Now watch this. The number 1 has the value 6. The number 2 has the value 7, right? The value of temp 1 is 12. The value of temp 2 is 14. That's right. That's right. 6 times 2 is 12. 7 times 2 is 14. The number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program. Oh, no, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. So I'm asking for number 1.
Can we change num 1 and num 2 and use the 1 and 2 that was referenced, sir?
Yes.
So instead of using num 1 and num 2,
we could. No, it has to work. This has to work. This has to work. This has to work. Let's go 6 and 7. The number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 6. No. That's not right. Right. So I want to pass across 1 and 2. You want to pass across number 1 and number 2. So that's what I'm leading up to, Abdul. I'm leading up to that. I'm leading up to that. I'm leading up to that. It should have worked. It should have worked. It should have worked because I want the value of number 1 and number 2. I don't need Abdul's answer. I need 1 and number 2. Abdul, help me, Abdul. There's my ampersand there. Because you came up with the
I'm a student as well. Yes. So I'm mostly looking up to you to help me figure out where the problem is with the code.
Yes. Who's there?
You did not call 1 and 2 in the main function.
I did not. Yeah, I did not. That's true. That's true. I did not call 1 and 2 in the main function. I called it as number 1 and number 2. Right?
Number 1 and number 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you want to call it
that? I don't know.
You want to try that out? You want to call it as 1 and 2? Okay. Fazlina is talking.
I do not know.
No, we're trying it out. I'm learning too. Let's compile. See, Fazlina, we can't use that here because it's not available to me in the main program. That's why, Fazlina. All right. So just read over your notes on local variables and global variables again, and read up about actual parameters and formal parameters. Right, Fazlina? Right?
Yes, I'll do that. So.
Yeah, right. So I want to see what that is, right? I want to see what that is. So I'm seeing there's a slight problem out here, and the problem seems to be that num1 is still having it doesn't know what value to take on, right? So I'm going to introduce a couple more variables, and I'm going to say well, I don't need Abdul's story here. In the interest of time, let's not do that. I'm not going to take that on. And by the way, I'm quite happy. I've got the answer out here, right? I've got the answer out here. So this will help me a little bit, right? So there's my answer. If you don't mind, I'm going to just speed things up a little bit. I'm going to copy this across. Control C, because I'm taking too much of time on this. Let's go here. Control V. So what happens is I've taken 1 and I've multiplied by 2, and let's look at my answer again. And I'm passing across 1 and 2. It should have worked. Oh, okay, there we go. And I'm calling up I'm calling up 1 and I'm calling up 2. I'm not putting it into a parameter. Let's take that out now. So I see that. So that seems to be okay. Temp 1, temp 2. What am I returning in my value in my program? In my twice, I'm not returning anything. So that seems to be issue there. I'm not returning anything. Let's not return anything. And the value of temp 1, temp 2, and let's call it up like this, right? So let's not worry about what Abdul has to take on. Let's compile. Is there an error? Is there unused variable answer? So I don't need answer. All right. So let's see what I don't need Abdul's answer. All right, let's talk. All right, let's see if this program will give me what I wanted to with my reference parameters in it. Right. So let's go and run it. Let's run it. Build and run. Please enter the first integer, which is 6. Please enter the second integer, which is 7. Now, Abdul, it should give me 6 times 2 is 12, both in the main program and in the function. It should give me 7 times 2 is 14 in the main program and in the function. Right, Abdul? Hopefully.
Let's go for it and see. Hopefully, yes.
Right, right. Let's go for it and see. So it says the value of temp1 is 12. That was in the main in the function. The value of temp2 is 14. That's true. The number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 6. No. The number of multiplied by 2 in the main program is 7. Abdul, something's not right here, Abdul.
I was thinking, sir, to just make it or just tweak it a bit. Just put times 2 on the cout statement.
We could do that, but that's taking the easy way out, Abdul. That's taking the easy way out, and programming is not something that we want to do the easy way out, right? Destiny, help me, Destiny.
As long as the code works.
I know.
From what I'm seeing, from what I'm seeing on the main function there,
yeah,
the num1 and num2, no, there's no operation, there's no mathematical operation for them. Like as the numbers just come into the variables, num1 and num2, they are outputted the same. So there's no operation performed on those two. I think that's why it keeps coming out the same. I think we should
coming out the same because they're not passing across there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hear you. Let's try and say what happens by answer 1. No. Listen, I did work this out. I worked it out. Let's see. Build a new project. Forgive me for taking your time. Consult DSTINY in honor of Destiny's talking to us. Let's see. View manager. Let's go to Destiny. All right. I'm just going to copy my solution, what I had here working. I did run this program.
So I'm not sure if I would be jumping ahead, but I remember asking about pointers, and I think in this particular case they would also come in and help us with this trick.
Yeah, no, we don't want to use pointers right now, Abdul. If it's cool with you, I don't want to do that. I don't want to Control C. I don't want to use pointers. Right.
Pointers will still work.
It would, but I don't want to. I don't want to. That's complicating the program, in my opinion. Let's close that project. Yep. Right. So this is what I was leading up to, right? I was leading up to this program. Function. What was the problem there? Function. Twice. There we go. Sorry. Control C. No. Right. Compile. Build and run. Enter in a value 6, 7. The 2 times the inputted numbers are 12 and 14. Right. This is what I'm heading for. This is what I'm heading for. For some odd reason, I'm not sure why it's not working with me. Right. I'm trying to figure it out here. This is what I wanted. This is what. Yes. Go ahead, Fazilina. Go ahead.
I think for your other example, sir, in our parameters, you used 1 and 2, right? And within the function, you named it. You placed it into a variable named temp, which was not in our parameters, so you didn't call that.
Let's go and have a look at what I was looking at. Open. So Fazilina says recent projects. Go to recent file, recent projects. So Fazilina, here's the program. Fazilina, you say temp.
You see.
Right.
In our reference parameters, we have 1 and 2, and then you called in the variables temp1, temp2, and then you stored our calculation in temp1, right? But then in our main function, we don't call it at all. And that's what I was trying to tell you. We need to call it into our main function so that it gives us the result we want.
Okay. So you're telling me out here, right? So you're telling me out here. Now this makes sense. So help me, Fazlina. What do I do in line number? Talk to me.
If you want to use the temp one, I think we should just take out the temp one and do what is in the example. We store the result into the parameter 1 and 2, 1, 2.
So I'm going to say 1 here, right?
And we say 2 there.
2 there, right?
And then we don't have to do the value of temp 1 is at all.
Okay, we don't need that. Okay, that's cool. We don't need that, right? Right. And now?
And then in our main function, we need to call our function twice.
Yes.
And we need to replace the num1 and num2 with 1 and 2. Let's see if we can do.
Let's see if we can do that. Okay, let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that, right? Right. Is that what you're telling me?
And then, yes, and our console, I think we should remove the num1 as well and call 1 and 2.
Over here?
Yes, let's see if we can do that.
All right. Abdul, what do you think about what Fazila said?
I'm just trying.
It's not declared, and it's within the scope of the function twice. So it's not going to work. It's not global, it's local to the function.
There, right? See what Abdul is talking about, right? 1 and 2 are not declared. So let's go back, Fazilina, with what we said, right? num1, and we said num2, right? All right, we're going to leave it as that, right? Fazilina, is that okay?
Leave it as that. Right. All right, okay.
We have established that we can't use that, right? Okay, cool with that. Cool with that. And num2, right? Cool with that. Abdul, let's see what Fazilina has said. She's helped us along here. She says, we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Let's compile this. And I suspect that Fazilina could have helped us along. So it's 6 and 7. So we should get the answer of 12, and we should get the answer of 14. The number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 12. The number 2 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 14. Fazilina?
Yes,
Fazilina, you were on the absolute right track. Abdul was on the right track, and Destiny as well. Destiny, let's go back to what we are trying to get at. If I need to make a change in here, I need to have this as a reference parameter. Watch this. If I take out the reference parameters, this is the whole purpose of what I was aiming for, right? And I seem to have lost myself and yourself along the way because we had too many extra variables along the way, right? Let's go and run this program. Now, I'm not going to get the right answer. I'm going to say 6 and I'm going to say 7, right? Fazilina, Abdul, Destiny, Marianne, don't get worried if we don't get the right answer, right? The number 1 multiplied by 2 in the main program is 6. The number 2 multiplied by the main program is 7. That's not the right answer because they are not reference parameters. As soon as I put the reference parameter in, I put the ampersand sign in front of it. And if I run the program, and if I run the program 6 and I put 7 in there, now it's going to give me 6 times 2 is 12, 7 times 2 is 14. The number 1 multiplied in the main program is 12, the number 2 in the main program is 14. So Abdul, to come back to what your suggestion was, to use pointers, there was no need to use pointers. Destiny, you also said about pointers. And Abdul, you also mentioned about multiplying it by 2 out here, right? Putting a multiplying by 2. We could have done that, Abdul, but then what's the point of us having a function? And you understand, Abdul?
I hear you, sir.
Right? If I could have done it out there as well. Let's go. Let's run this program now. Let's run the program.
Okay, it's going to be different based on the reference.
Yeah, it's going to now say 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 7 times 2 is 14. 14 times 2 is 28. Right? It should have. Oh boy, 6 times 2 is 12. It's not running. Oh man, I don't want to confuse you and me. Abdul. Let's get back to what it was. Let's get back to what it was. Right. I just like us to use this method. I just feel that this is what they are going to be testing us on. All right. That we need to use a reference parameter. We need to have this ampersand in front of it. That was the whole point of this objective of this lesson. If I want to take any changes that took place inside twice, I need to pass it across as a reference parameter. Are you feeling okay with that, Abdul? Are you kind of, Fezalina, thank you for bringing that up as well. That's the whole thing. That's the whole issue. The issue was reference parameters need an ampersand in front of it so that I can pass that value across to the main function.
Main function.
Yeah.
And then would you advise that this starts becoming a standard way of defining your function using those end percents or the reference parameter?
That's the whole issue. If you can, and you are not sure, and you want to make sure that what comes out of the function, the whole purpose of writing the function is to multiply it by 2, then we must put a reference parameter in front of it, the ampersand sign. Okay.
Understood.
Right. So this is what I want you to.
Question.
Yes, please, Fezalina.
So if you want to do calculations within a function, do you use a reference parameters? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, all depends on the question. Now, if there's a calculation that's taking place out here, let's say, for instance, I had to find the percentage or the multiplication, the product or division. And if I want that value transferred to the main program, then this sign must be there, the ampersand sign. That must be there, the ampersand sign, so that it's passed across in num1 and num2, and then it gives me the value out here. That's the whole purpose of it. Right, so let's run it one more time to see that it works, that it is 6 and 7. It should give me an answer of 12 and 14. 12 and 14. If I take out the ampersand sign, if I take it out, right, and if I now run it, it should give me an error. That's the whole purpose of what I'm trying to get through to you guys, right? It should give me an error. There we go. There's the error there, right? You see, that's Fezalina, Abdul,
yes.
Marianne, Destiny. That was the whole purpose of today's thing, leading up to it, right? And in leading up to that, I started talking to you about local variable. That means a variable that's only valid inside the function. And I spoke to you about a global variable, and I spoke to you about that's a constant that's throughout. And we spoke about, Fezalina, that you can't go and access this value of 1 and 2 in the main program because it's not declared out there. It's declared on line number 3. All right. So one last time, there's the ampersand sign there. The ampersand sign allows me to take whatever happened in the function in line number 4 and line number 5 and pass it across to the main guy. All right. One last thing I want to show you. The order is also important. If I go and change this order here, if I go and change that order around, right? If I go and change the order around, that also has an effect on the program, right? That also has an effect on the program. So let's run the program. Again, 6 and 7, watch this. The number, okay, right? You try that out, right? Try that out as I'll leave you. And next week when we come, we will do it one more time where I try it out. All right, that means parameter passing, the number of parameters are important, the type of the parameters are important, and the ordering, we're going to look at that. All right, it's already, I normally like to finish off in an hour. It's 20 past 3. I'm keeping you for so long. Cool. Abdul, Destiny, I got a question in the chat. Guys, do you hear? Yes, I hear you. Oops, that was a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
Right, Destiny, are you cool with that, Destiny?
Sir?
Yes.
So, but I didn't hear you. You break.
Oops, I spoke to you that the number of parameters when you're passing is important. The type of the parameter is important, and whether it has the ampersand sign in front of it or not. That's also important. Right. So that's what they were testing you on in this, in example 4c. Okay.
And
Yes, sir.
And it works with all data types, be it a string, a float, a double. It caters for everything.
Well, if this is a float, this is what you can try out, right? That is float. You're gonna run the program. You're gonna have an error because num1 is declared to be float, and 1 and 2 are declared to be integer. For that to work, this also has to be float.
Yes, right? That's what I meant, sir.
That's what you meant. Oh, good.
Percent,
yes.
So
yes.
it caters and covers for that.
Yes, yes, yeah. All right. So the both parameters, the actual parameters and the formal parameters, must indeed be of the same data type.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Abdul.
Can
yes.
I ask
yes,
a question?
Yes. Sure.
If we perhaps in our twice function we had used a return and we returned 1 and 2, would that affect the our entire program?
Yeah, that's what we were figuring out in the previous one when we were returning it as without doing any computation on it. That was the error that we were getting. But Abdul, what do you have to say about that? What Fazlina has mentioned? Can she use a return out here? Can she return 1 and 2? You want to return 1. Is this what you're talking about, Fazlina?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you want to do that?
I see.
Right. Thank you, Fazlina. Let me highlight another important about a function. A function generally returns only one value. Right? That's the rule of a function. I can't go and return 2 of them. That's how Abdul started with adding the 2 values and giving me the sum of it all. Okay, Fazlina?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Right. So that's the whole purpose of having a function, find out what is one value, right? Coming out of it all, the answer to that. All right. Okay, Fazlina, so I can't go and I can't give me 2 values coming out, right?
Right.
I should not be doing that. That is what Marian was getting at in the beginning, bad programming, right? Bad computing. Right? All right. You're welcome. So for now, let's just leave that out and we are passing it across as a reference parameter. Right? Thank you. Any more questions? Quickly. Hello. So for homework, try it out. Put the ampersand sign, take the ampersand sign out, put 1 ampersand, 1 without an ampersand, run the program, check what happens. Right? So I have to put 1 with the ampersand and 1 without the ampersand. 1 gives me the answer of 6, 1 gives me the answer of 14. The ampersand makes sure that it is indeed passed across. Check that out as well. Right? I think that this explains it quite nicely. Destiny, what you say, Destiny?
Okay, so thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Destiny. Right, you cool with that? Abdul, you cool with it? Marianne?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
yes, sir, yes,
all right. Sir. Okay, so just go and Fazlina, please just read up on local variables, global variables, a constant variable, and the scope of a variable. That's important, Fazlina, all right? There seems to be a little bit of confusion about it. All right? Okay. Thank you. Can we call it a day, everybody? Can we call it day 6?
Yes, sir.
Great. Marianne, you were supposed to say hi to us. I didn't forget about that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So
Abdul, get ready, Abdul. Abdul, get ready, Abdul.
Yes, sir. I'm getting ready.
I think it's on. I don't know if you can.
Yay! Oh boy. That was
I have a bit of a visual problem. Right now you can see me, but I can't see you kind of thing.
Oh, we saw Marianne.
Thanks for blessing us.
Thank you, Marianne. Goodbye, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording now. All right.